G'day and welcome to Videodrome Cinema. Today I have 10 interesting and fun facts about the film Cobra. There's actually a work print version of the film that's really hard to find. And if I know this correctly, then all of the copies are actually VHS quality. This version is 30 or 40 minutes longer than the actual movie version. The difference is that the story is more developed, and there are a few really gory scenes that are missing from the movie version. There were actually two reasons why the film ended up being 87 minutes long. First, they didn't want to get the highest ratings, and this also meant that they could actually play it in cinemas more than once a day. What's for sure is that the work print version has an arm amputation and an autopsy. The death of Ingrid's camera guy is also a lot more bloody and longer. And in a lot of the kill shots in the film, we cut away before it happens. But in the work print version, we can actually see the deaths. This method of cutting a film so that they can play it more than once a day in a theater isn't something that's never happened before. The same thing happened with Total Recall and Another 48 Hours. You might know that back in the day, Stallone actually signed on for Beverly Hills Cop, and he got a bunch of changes made in the script. His version would have had a lot more action in it, but the studio couldn't have this, so that's the reason why Stallone ended up jumping out of the project. But some of the script changes that he made for that, he took and put them into the film Cobra. In an interview, the cinematographer said that he did end up getting into a fight with Stallone. He said that they got into an argument because Stallone said that he and his crew weren't working hard enough. And then the cinematographer said that if you weren't always grabbing Brigitte Nielsen's arse or posing in front of your bodyguards, then we could actually get something done. The cinematographer said that after that, Stallone pulled himself together for a few weeks, but then his old behavior came back. The cinematographer also said that he did like working with Stallone and he has a great sense of humor. Back then they said that the film wasn't exactly a great big success at the box office. True, Rambo 2 and Rocky 4, Stallone's previous films, brought a lot more money. Cobra only cost $25 million. It made 12 on its opening weekend. And for Warner and for the Cannon Group, this was actually a record back then. But the $160 million it made didn't give it high enough place on the yearly list. Of course, this is if we're comparing it to the other Stallone films. The 1950 souped up Mercury is actually Stallone's car. They used his car for a couple of scenes, but there was actually a stunt double car. They used these for the action sequences. The knife that Brian Thompson uses in the film was actually made by a known knife manufacturer, Herman Schneider. He made this knife specifically because Stallone asked him to make one for the film that they could give to the killer that nobody has ever seen before. We find out that Cobra's first name is Marion, and this is an homage to John Wayne's real name. The director of Drive is a huge fan of the film. This is why in Drive, the main character always has Toothpick in his mouth. It's an homage to Stallone's character, who had a match in his mouth all the time. The original novel was written by Paula Gosling. Its title was Fair Game, and it's interesting that in 1995, a film came out with William Baldwin and Cindy Crawford, and it uses the Fair Game novel as its basis as well. If you get a chance, you can watch the two films, and you can see that except for the bones of the story, how hugely different the two films are. Brian Thompson had to audition for the villain role 7 times. For the 4th audition, he actually read with Stallone. Stallone and the director thought that he was too nice to play this role, but he managed to convince them with his screen test. He said in an interview that he asked Stallone a bunch of times how he thinks that he should play this role, and in the answer to the question of why he's so evil, he just said, well, he's evil. In an interview, Santiago Segura said that in developing his popular character, Jose Luis Torrent, he actually based a lot of it on Cobra. The Torrent films were kind of like a parody of the 80s action movies. In Spain, Cobra was titled as Cobra el brazo fuerte de la ley, Cobra the strong arm of the law, and the spoof name is Torrenta el brazo tonto de la ley, which actually means the dumb arm of the law. In 2017, Stallone posted a picture on his Instagram on which Cobra is standing next to his 1950 classic Mercury, and the caption was comeback or throwback. The fans went wild and started lobbying for either a sequel or that a director's cut would finally come out in a remastered version. There's a bunch of rumors that the director was more Stallone than George P. Cosmatos. The crew on the set, a lot of them had said that the work was directed more by Stallone than the actual director. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give us a thumbs up. Come back and visit us soon. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so we can notify you when we put new content out. Thanks. Bye.